What up, Shard Timers? Here I am again, giving you another reading of. This one is going to be from the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous. See there? That's page 87, 86, and 87. It was suggested, and these are only suggestions, when you have a sponsor and you work the steps in AA, the 12 steps and 12 traditions and 12 practices, or however it goes. The point is, I just barely got a sponsor in the last few days. She told me to read page 86 and 87 of Alcoholics Anonymous big book every single morning and every single night, and that's what I've been doing. So page 80 says, and comment in the section down below if you don't understand something, or if you agree, or if you know more than me, which I know nothing right now. I barely have even 82 days sober right now. So I don't know much at all about AA or the big book. So comment down below if you can add to this, if you can explain it. But I'm just going to read it, okay? And you guys are helping me along my journey by just listening to me and me putting it out there on YouTube. So since I'm putting it out there on YouTube, I'm able to be more committed to my obligations, okay? Or the suggestions that were suggested to me by my sponsor. Here we go. It says, if we are constantly using it, it works. If we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions. When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time? Or were we thinking of what we could do for others? Of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Excuse me. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. So in other words, ask God to help control our thinking. My thinking today, God, help control our thinking today, God. Every situation that we respond after thinking of what you would do in the situation, listening to you and what you tell us in our inner spirit to do, instead of reacting, because when we react, it does not go well, because we're using our own stinking thinking when we react. Let's pause a moment and give God a chance to help us. All right. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here, we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We're often surprised how the right answers come after we've tried this for a while. This is page 87 now, and then we'll be done. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of the mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it. Okay. So in other words, we get used to leaning on God and asking Him before to help us with our decisions before we react, right? Okay. We usually conclude the period of meditation with a prayer that we be shown all through the day that what our next step is to be. That we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self-will, and we're careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. Let's continue. We got one more paragraph to go. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires definite morning devotion, we attend that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they have to offer. As we go through the day, we pause. Like I said before, that's what it says right here on page 87. Pause when agitated or when in doubt. We ask for the right thought or the right action to take. We constantly remind ourselves that we are no longer running the show, and that's it. And on that note, we can say that we're not running the show. This is Short Time 1. I'm out. Please leave a comment below.